And we're going to start recording this program here. We're talking about RPR and zipForm online integration. We are talking about how to use this program for your zipForm and RPR integration. I did forget to hit the record button, so I'm recording this for you right now, defining how you're going to be using this program with RPR, zipForm Plus, and how to demonstrate the integration between both of these. We are not going to be talking about the details of zipForm Plus and RPR. You can take classes with me and Joseph, or Joseph. We will be doing classes on this in the future, but you can call Joseph and or myself if you're looking for training. And questions can be asked during the live webinar by putting them in the question box. What is an API? Well, an API is a software. It's a software interface, not a user interface, meaning that you are not in control of it per se. What you're going to be doing is actually connecting by just typing in a few little things or adding by instruction to allow two programs to talk to each other without you really understanding what's happening in the background, okay? But if you can understand the concept of two programs communicating together and sending data from one to the other, that's what's called an application program interface, okay? You don't need to understand and write a thesis on it. Just know that it works, and it works because you are basically putting in your your private information for accessibility between your personal accounts and allowing data to flow between those two accounts. Joseph?
So what is Realtor Property Resource, otherwise most of us refer to as RPR? Well, it's a Realtor member benefit. There's no consumer or public access to it. The system is created by pulling from over 300 different data sets: federal, state, city, local MLS sold, active, and off-market data. It allows you to generate reports from your laptop or your mobile devices. That could be for a buyer, for a seller, a school report, a neighborhood report, market activity report, and you can also create flyers now in the RPR system. And again, classes will be available either through myself or Desiree. We both are certified trainers in the RPR tools. So what is zipForm Plus? A Realtor member benefit. I don't know how many of you are aware of the fact that the National Association of Realtors now is managing Plus, a transaction management tool specifically designed for real estate. And it's allows you to execute contracts by using ZipLogic's Digital Ink, also a Realtor member benefit. So remember our objective. You will see many processes that go into technical detail. Do not become overwhelmed. We're here to provide additional personal and group coaching. And this is how you can reach us. This will be a part of your presentation that we'll be sending you via email after this, where you can get in touch with myself or Desiree.
So we're going to get started here using these API features that you see here with RPR and zipForm Plus. Remember, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be connecting RPR and zipForm Plus using the API features. If you've never connected with RPR, don't feel as if, oh my gosh, this stuff doesn't apply to me. Yes, it does. You'll be able to use RPR without a problem. It's not a steep learning curve. And it's not something you have to pay for. It's something that you already have as a benefit to you. If you've never used it, you'll just need to start with getting access to it. You can create your connection by signing on to your RPR by going to narrpr.com and using your zipForm Plus accessibility. We're going to be going through and doing the integration example in a minute, but this is how you're going to do the connection. I'm not going to do the connection. I'm going to give you these screen prints here so you can do it yourself after we've completed this webinar. You're going to select the RPR link on the transaction menu in zip forms to create your connection, which is that API we're talking about here. And when you do that, you'll be notified that you're about to connect your zipForm Plus account with your RPR account. And you're going to select the link accounts button, that links account button that you see under the number 1 illustration here. Your accounts will be linked. It's that easy, basically, if you do that. Once you have RPR open, you have zipForms open, you'll click that button that I just showed you on this area here, that RPR link, and it's going to take you straight into this first screen print that I've got here, where it's going to tell you to link your account, and then you're going to select the close button on the other side. And after you've done that, then I'll ask you to utilize the API. And when you utilize the API by accessing your public records in RPR, that's where it's going to allow you at that point to use zipForms to quickly start a transaction by pulling the public data information. So you'll be able to search for your property in RPR, select the zipForm transaction button, select the start a new zipForm transaction button to move the public data into your transaction. Any comment before I go to the next slide, Joseph?
No, this is so simple, guys. It's just so hard to mess up. It's the most incredible relationship you're ever going to have on the planet.
So after that, then you're going to select the Go to zipForm button, and it'll be automatically logging you into your zipForm account. So if you're already in zipForms, basically what's going to happen is you'll have that new tab open, and you'll probably think, oh, that's a new tab in zipForm. Yeah, because since you've already created the connection with zipForms and RPR, it'll actually log you into zipForms. So you'll need to just close the tab if you already have it open, which you'll see. I'm going to demonstrate that to you.
Yeah, we're going to do a live demonstration of this, and after we go through this.
Yeah, so let's go live, okay? Let's go ahead and go live now and take a look at how this whole thing works. So in zipForm, what you want to make sure to do, guys, is to make sure that you already have your template set up. That's one of the things you want to make sure is that you already have your template set up in zipForms, right? So your templates are going to be set up. And then under your transactions area, you will see the RPR icon here. And you will go through what we just spoke about, where you'll have RPR open on one end. So in other words, you'll have that tab open with RPR. And when you're in RPR, you'll have zipForm open on the other. And when you click on the RPR link here, which is right underneath your transactions, that's where you're going to go through this whole process where you see the RPR link, and it'll take you through this whole process of linking them together. Okay?
It takes like 2 minutes.
Yeah, so it's very, very simple. So once you've linked them together, you'll be able to then integrate it and pull up any property that you want inside RPR and integrate it and pull that information. So I'll just type in a zip code here and pretend as if I want to, look at that property from a listing standpoint. So I'll go into 77450 and I'll pull up something. I'll just look for a distressed property. What about that? I think I'll just do that, Joseph.
Well, you just knock yourself out, girl.
I just knock myself out and look for a distressed property in RPR. How about that?
I don't know if you noticed lately, there are more of those popping up on our maps.
Yep. Lots more of those. Here's a pre-foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I don't want an AVM. I'm going to go to one of these RVM properties right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just choose this one just to choose it.
Some pretty pictures.
Very pretty picture. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got this property here I've pulled up, and I'm looking at this one as a pre-foreclosure, and I'm interested. Let's say you've had that conversation with this particular owner who's in pre-foreclosure, and you want to go ahead and do some work on this. You're going to do a comp analysis. You're going to create a listing agreement. So you're going to select, because you've already connected your zipForm with RPR at this point, it creates in your RPR account this additional button that says zipForm transaction. So you're going to left click on that zipForm transaction button, and it's going to allow you at that point to start a new zipForm transaction. Now, why do I see transaction name down here? That's because that activity had happened before. And that's why you see something listed underneath. But what you're going to do is you're going to click on start a new zipForm transaction. So you select it, and it says, oh, well, there you go. You've successfully created this transaction in zipForms. Go to zipForms. Now watch at the top of my monitor. You'll see I have zipForm Plus already open, right? But if I click on go to zipForms, it's going to open zipForm Plus again. Okay? So it opens it because it's pulling the data over. It's pulling the data into zipForms. What is it pulling? All the public information, yeah? So I'm going to close the other zipForm tab out. I don't need it. So when you look here now on the left-hand side of the screen, you will see that the address has been created. It's been added over here. It's added the information over here so that you can see it. And under the property tab is where you'll see the public data has been generated for you.
And Regina, this is where we went sideways in that class the other day. I closed the wrong zipForms tab.
Okay. That's
see how
happened.
that works. Yeah.
So the wrong zipForm tab had been closed. No problem. So if you look back here under documents, now look at the top here, you'll see that we've got this navigation bar here. If you go to documents, notice that the navigation bar looks different, guys. The navigation bar looks different because it's conducive to the documents that are in the transaction. This property tab is conducive to the property information. But under documents, we have no documents yet, right? But we do have a template. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a template. So when we select apply, we're going to add this listing template to the transaction. And because the public data has already been added, and we already have our cover sheet connected to this, when we go get something?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and select the cover sheet and open that up. Go ahead. I'm going to open up my cover sheet, and on the cover sheet, I already have in here the seller landlord information from public records. I already have my listing broker information. I have the property information here. So my lot number and my block number is here. Now, when you're looking here, guys, you'll notice that all the information under the legal description is in one field. So I need to make sure my lot number and my block number is also added down here where it says lot number and block number. So I have to make sure I take the information, lot 20, block 2, and put that here, lot 20, and then
20.
block 2. Yeah, I'm waiting for the 2 to come in. Yeah, block 2. Those 2 have to be entered in this section.
Now, so Desiree, why is that?
Because they're unique fields. Because they're unique fields. Because the information is not, they're not married to each other. They're separate, right? So when you go back through here, when you hit the back button, and you go to the residential listing exclusive right to sell form, when you open that up and you look at the form here, you'll see that it separates it on the section 2. You will see that it actually puts them in separate fields for you.
Right.
Therefore, under this section, when you hit this drop-down menu, all of these sections, when you hit the drop-down menu now, will be filled out, so you can fill them out. You can add it.
Great. Now,
Okay.
Desi, I did a CMA on this property. Can I save that CMA in zipForms from
Absolutely.
RPR?
Absolutely. You can even add the sellers. So if the sellers are inside the in the cover sheet, you'll be able to add the sellers in here too. So you notice the drop-down menu there. I'm adding the sellers on here. Yeah, Regina, it is awesome. Thank you. So what we're going to do is go back. And you said that inside RPR, you created a report, right? So if you
Right.
create a report and you wanted to add that into this this document, then you just go to Add Document.
Mm-hmm.
You can browse for the file, and your CMA report is here. You just click on your CMA report, and you can add that CMA report inside your um, transaction. So now it's a part of your transaction.
Okay,
So,
so it's
and
not
why would you want to do that? I mean, why would you want to add the CMA report in here?
what's part of documents for the transaction.
Plus, because also RPR only holds these reports for 30 days. So it's a great way for you to archive them too, right? It's another great way to archive it.
Right.
hmm So if you wanted to, you can send it to them at a later date. That you can use this and send it through the collaboration tool on their platform. They can open it up there to review it. If you want to do it that way, that's another way that it can be sent to them. Um, and Marty had a question there too. She was asking a question, but we can. Oh, the question Marty's asking is, when I browse, was it in RPR? No, it's on my hard drive. I had it on my hard drive when I looked for it. So yeah, so now everything is added here. Joseph, can you answer David's question? He was asking a question about the cover sheet.
But well, the four page is going to give you more information as opposed to the 3 page. It's going to allow you to save more information. Wouldn't you agree, Desiree?
Absolutely. Using the TAR cover sheet over my experience, and people telling me what's missing on other forms, it propagates more data
Right.
than the 3 page. So I have always suggested that people use a 4 page.
And it's still a free country, so David, you may use either your 4 or 3 page.
Yeah, just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, it's a choice. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I'm saying, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's more in 4 than there is in 3.
So under the property tab here, guys, this is where the information, just to reiterate for you, that's where the information is propagating from RPR. It comes over here, right? So this is kind of like a mini cover sheet, per se. But the cover sheet, of course, as we know, is where you really want to make sure that you're updating all the information for your client, and for you, is because it's going to send all the information to all the forms, right?
Well, it's just less data that you have to put in your cover sheet.
Correct. And it definitely makes a huge difference for you when you do it that way. It really make a huge difference. So that's basically how you integrate these two things. If you guys don't have any other questions, that's what we wanted to cover for you all today. Type your questions in if you have any, and we'll answer them for you. But we'll definitely send you this PowerPoint presentation at the end of this webinar. Any other questions that anyone has?
So Regina, are you flat with the where we went sideways in the class the other day?
Awesome.
Cool. Fabulous. I just love this, guys. I hope y'all are as excited as we are. Oh, now Desiree, with this inspection report and appraisal in your cover page, how did you set that up?
Okay, the inspection. Okay, so we do have another question, and we'll answer that, because remember, this is not a contract. This is a listing. That's why. Yeah. But the way this works is these are placeholders for the inspection report and the appraisal. So for example, let's say you're setting up a template, right? On your template, let's go over the templates, and I'll show you what that means. Remember, your transactions and your templates are two different things. So your templates is where you create all of the forms that you want to have inside your transactions, and you apply them, right? So on my template, what I did is, for example, let's say you're going to create a template. What is it that you would have in a listing template? One of the things you do have in a listing activity is inspection reports, correct? So if you know you're going to have an inspection report, it's kind of like having a reminder that you know that an inspection report is going to be part of the activity inside that transaction. So what you do is you select Add Document, and then you create a placeholder for that transaction. When you create a placeholder for it, all it's going to do is basically make a hole. It's like a hole, right? So so inside the transaction, once you have applied the template to the transaction, you now remember, all right, I have this inspection report that I have to have. And so when you are inside this transaction, you can do one of two things. And I will change this into the thumbnail view so you can see it a little bit better.
So it's kind of like you created a folder to put it in when it comes in.
Yeah, like a piece of paper that has the words inspection report on it, right?
Yeah.
So this drop-down menu says fill with new, fill with existing, move it to a folder, or remove it, right? So in other words, let's say, for example, this was the inspection report. I could drag this and drop it inside here.
Okay.
Right? Or I could import one from my hard drive. So if I said fill with new, then I would browse a file on my hard drive and pull it in here.
Right.
Okay? I could also set a due date for it. So if I select a due date, my due date would be fixed. So I have a specific date that particular due date is supposed to happen, and I get an email reminder to let me know when that inspection report is due. Right? So yes, that's correct, Beth. It is like a reminder. It's something that comes up and says, this is due for me to happen. So what happens is, up here at the top, if you guys notice that you do have a checklist inside your RPR on this tab. This tells you what you have, what is due inside your account, right? So inside that particular transaction, that's what's due. And on that checklist, you'll see it has a calendar view. You can create a new individual task. You can create a new checklist. You can send it to someone if you have to, right? Excuse me. You can change it from a month view to a week view to a day view, right? You can also look at an accumulative view of your tasks by going up here to the top and selecting tasks. So this is all the tasks that you have in zipForm. So on tasks, I'm on list view right now, but if I want to look at my month view, I can select month view, and that's going to show me all my tasks. Now, because I'm on a training example, you'll see here it says here that I have 15 tasks that need an attention, right? If I click on that, it's going to show me all the tasks that need an attention. So this essentially is keeping you up to date on everything that you need to do in zipForm Plus. So it's isolating your activities for your legal transactions. Any other questions on that?
Well, not on that, but Penny has a question about, I noticed the realtor information is not pulling into the contract. Why?
Right. Okay, because we were doing a listing as an example for this, right? So if we were doing a contract, then we would use, for example, we would use, let me show you. On the cover sheet, we would use Mls Connect. So Mls Connect would allow you to put in your user ID and your password, and it would allow you to put in the MLS ID number, and then that would allow you to pull all of that information in. And Mls Connect costs something like $20-something. Remember, what we're pulling is public information, right? From tax records. So for a contract, you would use Mls Connect.
And is that additional fee now, or is that part of the package?
No, MLS Connect is like $20-something a year.
Okay. Got it.
And
Just like,
it would allow you to pull in literally everything on the side of the seller. So for that, so if you have if you got, sorry. So in other words, you're representing the buyer, right?
mm-hmm.
It's going to pull everything in from MLS Connect. So it's going to scrape everything off of MLS for you. You don't have to go looking up for the listing agent. All of that information is going to be pulled in for you.
Does that answer your question, Penny?
I think so. It just says thanks there.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Thanks, Penny. So the placeholder is Beth says.
Yeah, Beth had a great response. She was saying so it's like a reminder. She's correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's right.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
And there's also that occasion where you might have, I know I've done this several times in the past, where I asked the seller to go ahead and get the house inspected. If there were too many things that they were concerned about, I said, okay, let's get the place inspected, deal with what we have to deal with, or not deal with it, but be aware of what's going on. And also keep in mind, while I'm a broker, I am not your broker, so that may not be a policy that's acceptable in your office. So I don't want to walk around the real estate community and everybody going, Joseph said. Right. That's just a personal choice that I've used in the past. So there may be an opportunity to put an inspection report in with my folder for a listing presentation.
Right. Yeah, also, and that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up. There's something else that I like to talk about when I'm teaching classes and about templates, and what that is when you're creating a listing template, another thing that you can maybe even think about adding to it, which is not in here, is a one-page profile about yourself. And you can send that out, and when you're doing your using the collaboration tool, which is not something we're going to cover today, but you can send the document out for your clients to review it on the collaboration tool, similar to how you would send them information for a lease application without having to send them emails. You can add it as part of the documents that you could apply when you're using the collaboration tool, which is a really great tool to use when you're inside any transaction. This collaboration tool here allows you to allow your documents to be shared and looked at, reviewed, or edited, for example, on a lease application, right? Which is totally different from doing digital signatures. So there's a lot to cover, but we definitely just wanted to make sure that you all had an opportunity to see one of the most recent things that have occurred here in RPR and zipForms, the integration of those two. Believe it or not, there's a more API integration in here. There's an integration for API under the add document area here. They have an add external document. And in here, believe it or not, you can use now Dropbox, Google Drive, Box, and OneDrive. And these are other APIs that are available. So, for example, if your office has external documents that you wanted to integrate, you would be able to pull those documents in and use those APIs in here from those external sources. So that's also a great benefit to y'all using zipForm Plus.
Yay! Wow. This goes a long way from having a pager and a roll of quarters looking for a payphone.
Absolutely. So thank you, Joseph. I appreciate you taking the time, and thank you so much for everyone that's been part of this call.
Yeah, we had 30, we had 30 people on the call.
Oh, we do? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's amazing. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. Well, we're glad that you guys are here. We have more webinars coming, and if you all have any suggestions about things that you'd like Why don't you type them in right here real quick? Give us an example of what it is that you would like to have us talk about. Thank you, David. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
We
like
appreciate
what
you
would be
guys.
what would be a slap your grandmama kind of class
Yeah, what
y'all
would you
want to
guys like
have?
as a webinar that we can go over? Okay, one a collaboration is an isolated. Okay, we'll do the collaboration. Okay, we could do that.
Mm-hmm.
What else? We'll do the collaboration tool. We'll do that as one class, just that one by itself. That'll take a good 30 minutes to do.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because we know you're busy and we appreciate the time that you're giving us this morning. And it's time to go out and make some money
All
using all
right.
these great tools.
Thanks, Megan. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. We will be sending y'all this. In order to get this, Beth, go on my website. You're going to go to DesireeSavory.com, and that will. Let me type in my website address here. Just make sure you should already be there. But when you go to DesireeSavory.com, that will take you to my website where you can join the email list, and then from there you'll get the notice as to when we're doing our webinars, because we'll be doing more webinars like this, and you'll be able to join in. So thank you all so much. We appreciate you being here. We'll make sure the collaboration tool is the next webinar that we do.
And remember, y'all are going to get a copy of these slides via email that you registered with. Correct?
Thank you. Yes, you get the slides within the next hour. The slides will come to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you guys so much. Y'all have a great day.
Y'all take care.